Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to attempt Gauntlet 2. Let's do this. So normally for Gauntlet, my warband and I do this together as our first clear. However, a few of our warband guys are on holiday and some of them are not yet at Paragon 400. So we suggested that they wait to attempt this once they hit 400 so that they can get decent Inferno 2 gear, rather than just kind of wasting the experience points or the experience earned from Gauntlet but not actually getting gear that they'll be able to use for Inferno 2. It's just going to end up as scrap eventually. So we weren't really sure how this was going to go, weren't sure how difficult this was going to be. However, a lot of people reported that this gauntlet didn't feel difficult compared to the ones on the previous difficulty before they changed the whole Paragon system and changed our Paragon levels back down, obviously, from what they were in the original Inferno difficulties. So let's see how this goes. This boss doesn't seem too different to the normal Helicry raid version. Sometimes with Gauntlet you find that it's a lot harder to complete the bosses and that they go into different kind of attacks than what you would normally see in a Helicry raid. However, this first one, Pestithol, seemed so easy compared to, or just as easy as doing it in the normal Helicry raids. So that is the first boss down. For some reason we didn't seem to get the correct animation when it died, and that's why a few of us were still spamming our attacks there. However, one boss down, 3 more to go. Now in Gauntlet 2 there are obviously 4 bosses, as I've just mentioned, and we do not have to fight that spider bitch, which I'm so happy about because I'm sick of that raid. However, this boss is my least favourite anyway, even with the new Aeyntragga boss. I find this one is still the most difficult with the attacks and also trying to just avoid them and keep alive. So let's see how this one goes and hope for the best. So just to quickly touch on build, I'm actually using the Helicry raid build that I shared last week in that build video. So if you want information on that, you can check it out there. As I recommended in that video, if you are below the combat rating for Gauntlet 2, I would recommend going in with the Hailstone essence for ice armor. However, I'm using the Heart of the Storm essence on that because I'm normally DPS whenever we do Gauntlet. I'm one of the top DPS. And a few people did criticize that build and say that it wasn't that great. So we're going to actually look at damage dealt at the end of this raid to see whereabouts I'm sat with that. Because it's always nice to see how exactly you've done and whether your build is working. So as I mentioned, if you're below combat rating, going with the Hailstone essence so you have that 6-hit immunity. However, if you have the combat rating for this build or for this raid, and you know that you are a good damage dealer, then definitely go for the DPS over the survivability. We do have a Necromancer on our team as well, so they were giving us bone armor. However, obviously, if you are going in with that strategy of having Necromancers on each team to keep everyone alive, do make sure you stay close enough to them so that you will actually get that bone armor when they launch it. So this is the phase of this boss that I hate, and I honestly wish that they would remove this damage immunity for Helicry bosses like they did with some of the dungeon bosses. Simply because it's so annoying when you know that you would have literally taken the boss down by now if it wasn't just immune to damage while you were all hitting it with your skills anyway. So I do think that's something that needs changing with this Aeyntragga boss. It's just not cool at all, and it just makes the raid longer than it needs to actually be. However, we are doing quite a lot of damage to it, especially now that the immunity is removed again, and this is obviously going to be the second boss down. Yep, just like that. So we're going to move on to boss 3, and you can see I've just changed my combat stance, and this is so that I get a little bit of a boost in damage when we go into the next boss. So next up we have Uthmaash-Ksarr. So this boss is a little bit more tricky, lots of different attacks, and also obviously the mist can cause damage to you and your teammates as well. And one of our guys from our warband was also having connection issues as he was at the gym while we were doing these raids. We basically sprung him on it last minute, so apologies Xeon for dragging you into Gauntlet 2, but one of our other warband people, she was waiting to go to her raids on her other character as well, so we kind of had to get a move on with doing Gauntlet 2, and we did really want to get it done this week as well, just to try it out, see where we're at with it. Normally myself and Game Zone, as you'll know from previous videos, we do a lot of Gauntlet boosts. So we wanted to see how difficult this raid was going to be, simply so that we know where we're at with being able to arrange teams for boosting other players for Gauntlet. Just because obviously there's people that will have the Paragon level, but they won't necessarily have the combat rating, and it's nice just being able to help other players out. You know, it doesn't take too long to do it. Each time you kind of learn new things, you learn what works, you learn what doesn't, and yeah, it doesn't always take that long to run these gauntlets, so it's not really a problem. I actually enjoy helping other players out with it. I know a lot of people get really funny about that kind of thing, but honestly, if it only takes like an hour of your day to boost sort of like, you know, 10, 20, 30 players, it's not that deep. Like, just do it and help some other people out. So yeah, that's my thought on Gauntlet, and that's probably what we'll be doing. I will also give like more of a strategy video once we do that, so that we can give an idea of what worked and how we managed to clear it quicker, because as I said, the more you do it, the quicker you get with this. And although you don't get those rewards of like gear or anything like that, it's still good to know if you can get a better speed with Gauntlet than you did previously. Well, that's kind of annoying. I just got the charge from the lantern, and then obviously they did the attack where it covers the whole map in mist. So yeah, super annoying there, but luckily I was in the right place at the right time, being positioned right next to the lantern that actually stayed on the map. So this boss, you can see Uthmaash-Ksarr, we're taking down really quickly now, and in just a matter of seconds, yep, that is it. We are moving on to the fourth boss. So the fourth and final boss for the Gauntlet 2 is Zecorandag Ice Leviathan. So this is the boss that I shared a couple of days ago with our warband raid, when we first cleared it as well. And I found this boss really easy, so I wasn't really too worried about what this was going to be like in Gauntlet 2, especially as we've kind of taken down the other bosses without any trouble, you know, not died at all yet. So hopefully this one will go smoothly as well. Now, one thing to just point out with this raid is that when you see these ice crystals and it says block the beam, all you need to do is literally stand in front of it like this, so that the beam cannot hit Zecorandag, because otherwise it will cause these beams, and then obviously that is harder to avoid and it will give a lot of damage as well. Anytime you see any kind of rotating beam in Diablo Immortal, you know that you are going to take a lot of damage from it. And also you can see the floor has also turned to ice, so it is really hard to move and actually position yourself correctly at this point. So that's why you need to make sure you block those ice crystals, and obviously have a setup maybe before you enter G2, and discuss with your teammates who is going to stay on the left side and who's going to stay on the right side of the boss, just so that you have an idea of where to position yourself, especially for the attacks like this. Although there are a lot of attacks happening right now from Zecorandag, you can see we are taking this boss down really quickly, and just like that, Gauntlet 2 completed. Also hit Paragon 404, first clear rewards, so we've got all of these gear pieces, a new cosmetic and some scrap, and this was the damage overall as well. So I was second for DPS, Game Zone was top, which Demon Hunter is a high DPS class, so that's to be expected. And yeah, overall results, I'm really happy with that to be second. Wasn't the highest resonance player on the team either, so really nice to see that result. So we're going to go ahead and identify these items from Gauntlet 2 and see if we have anything worth using. So we do have a couple of green items that are good here. However, I'm probably not going to use these. They aren't sets that I use. I do use this bracelet. However, it's only got 2 gear slots, so I'd rather not use that. And unfortunately, the legendary items were not any better than what I already had. This is the cosmetic you get for completing Gauntlet 2. Now, it's kind of disappointing, I thought, because it is basically just the Howling Terror cosmetic in a different colour. You also cannot hide the helm with this, which if you could hide the helm, it wouldn't actually be too bad. But I'm just going to show you Howling Terror so that you can see. Just scrolling through to find it. I think I also have Howling Terror in another colour as well, like a different version of blue, simply because it was available. Yeah, so you can see that is the Howling Terror cosmetic. It's the exact same, it's just in a different colour. So I really wish that they would do something a little bit more special for these Gauntlet runs and give a nicer cosmetic. So I'm not going to use it, I'm just going to wear what I normally wear, which is this one, which is my favourite cosmetic, with the weapon cosmetic that one of my friends bought me for my birthday earlier in the year. But that is it from me today. I hope you found this video helpful. As I said, I'll have a strategy video up for this soon. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.